My name is Brennan Riccardi. I'm going to be interviewing health coach Crystal Riccardi. What do you think is a healthy lifestyle?
That's a great question. I think a healthy lifestyle is when people eat foods the way we were supposed to eat them. And foods in moderation too, where we don't overindulge in sweets and processed foods, where we eat whole foods is a healthy lifestyle. And then of course exercise is also a healthy lifestyle, contributes to a healthy lifestyle.
Why do you think America has so many obese Americans?
I think because a lot of our food is processed and we want to eat on the go and we want our food and we want it now. So it's easy for us to go through a drive-thru and grab our food instead of sit down and eat with our family and prepare a nice meal. And people are intimidated by that, but also the foods that they're eating, there's a ton of sugar that's put into the foods that we eat, the processed foods, which causes obesity, which causes diabetes and obesity, and we hold on to all of that fat.
Okay. Do you think most people misunderstand what is healthy and what is not?
Yes, I think they do, because they go to the store and they read the label on the container and it says fortified with vitamins and minerals, and or it may even say like gluten-free or all different kinds of things it'll say. So we think, well, we're supposed to eat that, and we grab it off the shelf and we take it home, but if you really read the ingredients, you would see that it's not healthy for you at all. So people just have the wrong idea. It's also in our food pyramid that's kind of messed up, that shows how many grains we're supposed to eat, and there's a lot of grains on there, and what we really need to focus on is whole foods.
What ingredients do you think are in foods today that aren't healthy for you?
The list goes on and on and on. If you read labels, you would see that there's things you can't even pronounce, and if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it, because there's a lot of chemicals in our food. There's a lot of artificial sweeteners and flavors and colors, so you should really just eat foods that have 6 or less ingredients, or if you read the label, you'd be able to make it yourself.
Do you think that it's bad for people to drink milk?
I think that calves were meant to drink cow's milk, and I grew up on a ranch, so I know that that's how it's supposed to be. I know we were supposed to drink our mother's milk when we were born and in infancy, but I don't think we're supposed to be drinking a cow's milk. So there's a lot of hormones in the cow's milk that they're giving to the cows when they're milking the cows that can cause a lot of problems in our development. And when they take out all the fat in the cow's milk, they add sugar, and then they pasteurize the milk, and they take out all the good bacteria that we actually need in our stomach. So,
what is so bad about genetically modified food?
Well, they have basically taken genes from one seed to the other and trying to make this amazing seed that will keep all the bugs away and be able to withstand some bad weather, all those kinds of things. So in doing that, they've made it into something that our bodies don't even recognize. So our bodies fight it off. It's almost like a foreign matter in our bodies that it's fighting off. So your body starts actually fighting itself, and we develop autoimmune disorders. And so it's like eating plastic almost. So not a good thing. And the major offenders of that is wheat and soy and corn and sugar beets. So try to stay away from those.
How do you get so addicted to unhealthy food?
Because of the additives that they put in it. A lot of the artificial sweeteners they mess up our message to our brain telling us whether we're full or we're hungry, so we want more. It actually triggers a part in your brain, almost like drugs do, where you just want more and more and more. And then they put all these flavor enhancers in it, so it tastes amazing, and you think, oh, this is what food's supposed to taste like, but it's not really, and so we forget what real food tastes like.
Do you think that the government is feeding us false information about health?
Yes, and I think it stems from the food pyramid again, and that drives what we eat in our school lunches. Also, it's driven a lot by the food industry, so our country can produce cheaply corn and wheat and soy, and so they put it in all kinds of foods because it's cheap and easy to produce, and it's a filler. So, I think that the government kind of drives that, and then we just naturally consume a lot of those foods.
How much sugar should the average person have?
About 5 grams of sugar in each meal, and which is almost impossible in our standard American diet. So otherwise our bodies can't process it, and it just turns to fat, and then we have this crazy amount of people with diabetes in America. So
why is healthy food more expensive?
I think healthy food is more expensive because not enough people know the benefit of it. So it's almost like the supply and demand curve, that more and more people just want cheap food, and so they can mass produce it, and it doesn't cost as much, and so people naturally go towards the cheap food. But if we can make a change in that as Americans and start banning that cheap, unhealthy food, then hopefully the healthy food will become cheaper, and we can support local farmers, and then we can almost put some of those companies out of business so that we can support the whole food and the real food.
Is fake meat a good alternative for real meat?
Most of the time, no, because they put so many additives in it to make it taste like real meat. So they use soy a lot, and soy is also another thing that messes up our hormones and our development, and it's also genetically modified. So you really have to look at the labels and figure out if it's worth it to eat that fake meat, or just eat a bunch of veggies if you don't eat meat.
Are artificial sweeteners better than plain sugar? Why or why not?
I would say no. I'd say both of them are bad for you, and there's plenty of alternatives to sugar. Sugar that comes naturally, like maple syrup or honey. There's different ways to sweeten things, but artificial sweeteners, like I said before, they trigger that response in your brain that says, I want more, more, more. So even if you chew gum with artificial sweeteners, you'll realize how much hungrier you are when you do that. So people think they're doing a good job by drinking diet drinks and sugar-free, but actually they're just making themselves hungrier, and they're eating more.
How do you teach people to eat healthy?
I teach them to take small steps, and I educate them so they know why they're making the decisions, and not just tell them what decisions to make. It's good to be educated and know about all of this, so I teach them to make small steps, and then over time they've made huge changes and they don't even know it, and it's hard for them to go back to the way they used to eat, which is great. And then it can be a change for good.
What strategies work? What things don't work so well?
Well, we've seen that fad diets don't work. A lot of people just think, I'm going to go on Weight Watchers or the South Beach diet or whatever, and they jump in and they take the weight off, but then as soon as they go off the diet, they just put it all back on. So as fast as the weight comes off, it goes back on. So the fad diets just aren't a good strategy. It's more of educating and understanding why we need to eat the way that we eat. So,
what do you think do you think that a short-term diet would work?
No, and I pretty much just covered that, why it doesn't work. It's quick changes that are difficult to maintain, and they can be very drastic, and if you take small steps, then it won't seem as drastic, and it can be a lifestyle change and not a diet.
What is your opinion of artificial flavoring and coloring?
Most of them are made with petroleum, so they're actually toxic to the brain. They call them neurotoxins, and this is what's causing a lot of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or attention deficit disorder. And so they have proven there's a whole diet called the Feingold diet where they've taken out all of the artificial colors and flavors, and kids and adults actually can focus more and do better in school or at work because their ADD or ADHD have gone away, the symptoms have.
So, our team has been thinking about, so we're going to do an ice bucket challenge sort of thing. So, if you don't donate, then you have to do a diet for a certain amount of time. And we were going to ask you how long that you should do it for.
I think a good way to kind of detox from everything is 30 days or 4 to 6 weeks is a good span of time to give up something, because then when you go back to it you don't feel good, and so you have less of a chance of just going back to the way that you're eating. I think it's a great idea to challenge people to give up certain foods and create awareness in America, and with your friends and family, create that awareness so that they can stop eating foods that are harmful to us.
Okay. Thank you for watching this interview.